Will it come live? Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. I hope everybody can hear me in chat. And tonight we've got some super duper guests on. Now you're probably thinking, he's not on Rumble tonight. Well, I'm not on Rumble because those of you that have been watching the show over the last couple of weeks have noticed that near the end of the show on Rumble, uh, either I or everyone else gets booted out of the studio and it just goes blank. And we've been trying to sort this problem out yesterday, tomorrow. I'd like to a special thanks to Paul English, who's really been working hard. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, mate. And we didn't make a breakthrough. I hope to make a breakthrough by next week, find out what the problem is. So what we're doing, we're going out live on Facebook and YouTube. But everybody seems to be here, so there's no problems. So welcome to my guests. Who wants to say first? Say hello first. It's John Hamer and Andy Ross. Good evening, John. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening,
Hello.
Chris. Andy here. Good evening.
Hello. Hi, Chris.
Okay. Can everybody hear John and Andy?
Thanks for having us back on again.
Yeah,
It's
thank
a
you.
pleasure. You can come on any time, and we're not doing this via StreamYard. We're doing this by Restream tonight. So, and Sue Sparkler says, you aren't on Rumble. Yes, yes. I think
Yep.
she's very observant. I've left a video on Rumble telling people that where I am. So there we are. So tonight's guest, Paul, sorry, not in the studio. I'll get there in a minute. Tonight's in the chat room. Our winner for just after 7:30 is Paul. And so you can have a raspberry and a two-finger salute to any politician of your choice for becoming the first in chat room. And Sue has said, can't see anyone. Yes, that's because it's radio. You don't see pictures on radio. And Jojo Gizmo, evening lads and lasses, and Paul says, coming through loud and clear. So there we go. So now tonight's show, it's I've arranged for the weather to be like the Antarctic. So I hope you like the arrangement I've made. If you believe that, you believe anything. Who wants to start? Because we're talking about something cold down below.
You take it away, John. You take it away, John.
As opposed to warm down below. Me?
Yeah. You take it away.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about something cold down below as opposed to something warm down below, which is not really worth talking about. So yeah, we'll talk about coldness rather than warmness. Yeah. The book you will all be absolutely thrilled to hear is actually out now. It's available from all good bookstores. No, it isn't. It's available from Amazon. It's available from my website, and it's available on another website called 60 Degrees South. That's 6-south.com. And on there, you will see pen pictures of myself and Andy. You'll have an opportunity to actually buy the book. It's just a link through to my website there. There's actually the music from the book. I know that sounds a bit weird, having music in a book, but one of the characters actually plays the guitar and sings quite an amusing song, which was very kindly composed for us by a gentleman by the name of Trevor J. No. Is quite popular singer of kind of, shall we say, protest songs, if you like, to do with geopolitics. And there is also now a section, thanks to Andy, who's just been working his socks off for the last half hour, putting it on. Not download, but you actually read the first 3 chapters of the book. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that without giving too much away, because after all, it is a novel and you don't want to hear the ending before you've read it. So yeah, it's about the book, and it's about all the different elements of the book that that we've devised and concocted and put into there. Some of it is actual fact, but the majority of it is fiction, obviously. So it's kind of a blend of fact and fiction, if you like. Lots of truth bombs in there, but lots of fiction as well.
Yeah.
Don't know if you want to add anything to that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a swashbuckling good adventure. There's lots of action. There's lots of technology. Anybody who likes aircraft and aerial combat will enjoy the novel, I'm sure. And there's lots of exploration to lands, lands unknown or just lands that we are prevented currently from discovering. So there's a little bit of romance in there. There's plenty of action and lots of intrigue. And as John mentioned, a smattering of truth bombs as well.
Excellent. And he said, "Oh, we don't want to give away the, no, we don't want to give it away. But between you and I, it was the butler, wasn't it, that did it?"
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, who was the first on, has made a request that we do. You're gonna have to, because it's radio. You're gonna have to sort of imagine this: a two-finger salute and raspberry to Matt Hancock. So here we go with to Matt Hancock. That's perfect, lovely, nice British raspberry there to Matt Hancock. And
could I also put in an honourable mention for Keir Starmer?
Pardon? Could you repeat that again? So I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, I said, could we also put in an honourable mention for Keir Starmer into that raspberry as well?
Oh, yes, Keir Starmer. That's lovely. And I'll tell you something, they both got very nice necks that would be lovely for a little piece of rope around it. Wouldn't that be nice? Ooh, we can all live in hope, can't we? So there we go. I hope that's okay. Yeah, suitable, Paul. Thank you very much.
For that task. I would volunteer for that task, but I'd probably get killed in the rush.
That's right, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yes, I call it medieval bungee jumping. You don't do it with a solid rope, but with elasticated rope over an open sewer. Boing, boing, boing. Because I could have bets on how many times they bounce, things like that. But what fun! I could be rather sadistic sometimes, but no. But back to the book. The Antarctic is because people get muddled up with the Arctic and the Antarctic. And the big thing about, I might have got this round the wrong way around, in the Arctic, there are no penguins.
Nope.
Yes.
But in the Antarctic, there are no penguins. So if you're feeling a bit peckish, pop in for a penguin, but you've got to go to the Antarctic for that. And is it polar bears? I think you've got polar bears.
No, there's polar bears in the Arctic, but not in the Antarctic. Other way around. So there's polar bears in the Arctic, but not the Antarctic, and penguins in the Antarctic, but not the Arctic.
Now, Survival Steve has heard this one, but it's a little, for those of you that are into survival, if you're ever in a plane crash or, God forbid, anything like that, and you're out in the Arctic, do you know how to catch a polar bear?
No, go
on. You actually drill a hole in the ice, and then you put peas around the outside of the hole. When the polar bear comes for a pee, you kick him in the ice hole. Anyway, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's a terrible one, isn't it?
It's not one of your best. Not one of your best.
No. It needs a bit of polish, that one.
Yeah.
But now with the book, it is based on truth. It is very strange that the World Atlas has changed after 1959, isn't it? Am I right there? Before 1959. By the way, Paul says thank you for the raspberry. He feels a lot better now.
Good.
Excellent. But no, what's actually happened is, there was some sort of meeting, wasn't there, in 1959? Was it the UN or something like that?
Well, John, do you want to pick up the story on the Antarctic Treaty? The Antarctic Treaty?
Yes. Yeah, I think I've got a bit of a lag because that's when I start talking. It doesn't seem to pick up for a few seconds, but I'll do my best. Yeah, in 1959, something called the Antarctic Treaty was signed, and amongst many other things, one of the main elements of that was that you are not allowed to travel beyond 60 degrees south, which is where the title of the book comes from, obviously. But people say to me, that's not true, John. I know people who've been on cruise ships down to the Antarctic. Yes, that is true. You can actually do that, but it's all very strictly controlled. And I think that they only allow you to do that just so that they've got to they're able to refute that statement when people say you can't go below 60 degrees south. But it's true, you can't unless you're on some kind of an official cruise, which cost an absolute fortune, by the way, a ridiculous amount of money. But that's by the by. So yeah, what happens is if you sail on a boat beyond 60 degrees south, you will be intercepted by UN gunboats, and you will be forced to turn back upon pain of death. They will actually blow you out the water if you refuse to turn back. And likewise in the air, they have, they obviously patrol it with planes, but they use radar as well. And if there are any incursions beyond 60 degrees south in the air, they will intercept you. They will tell you to turn back. And if you don't, they will fire a warning shot at you. And if you still don't turn back, they will shoot you out of the skies. And this has happened. This is not just something, it's not just a myth. This is true. They do actually do that. And it has been done. It happened to a New Zealand airliner whose compass malfunctioned or whatever they use in a plane. And it strayed into forbidden territories and it was shot down. Again, you won't find it anywhere in the mainstream, but I have it on very good authority. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And
so yeah, it's not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south, and it begs the obvious questions: why would that be?
Yeah, I mean the 60 degrees south line as well, Chris. Sorry to interrupt there, John. It's really it's actually the southern hemisphere. Right. Hello, can you hear me there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, the 60-degree southern parallel is the southern Antarctic or the southern hemisphere equivalent of the Shetland Islands. So it's as if basically they draw a line across the ocean or up in the air at the same latitude as the Shetlands and say you can't go beyond that. That is the equivalent of the 60 degrees south exclusion line. So it's effectively kind of a third of the southern hemisphere that you cannot explore.
Well, the thing what I'm interested in is the question why. Now, there's many. Oh, by the way, Stig's in chat. I'm not sure. Oh, hang on, I can show these on the screen. Yeah, that's it. Morning all. That's from Stig, and we've also got some very interesting questions from Monty Sad Ventures. So we'll come back to him. But the question is why. Now, there's many theories. One is the hollow Earth. Where people think that's the entrance to the hollow Earth.
Okay.
And there's a load of other ones that don't spring to mind at the moment. But we've got here, now, hang on, I got muddled up with my questions here. Oh, yes. Now, Monty is not that keen on flat Earth. Okay, well, fair enough. Everybody's got their opinions. That's and this is what the show is about. People share their now Steve has said square is flat. It's right because I said Benteen was correct. It's a square world. But now Monty has come in and said, why are all planetary objects spheres? And he did ask another one. Here it is. Can you ask the guest why the moon is upside down in southern hemisphere?
I
didn't even know it was.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know it was either.
No, I didn't. But even if it is, what does that prove, Monty? I mean, what point are you trying to make there?
Well, I've never heard of the moon being upside down. It might
Me
be.
neither.
I'm not. I've never heard of it. So if anybody's got any evidence of this, please, like, if you could jump on a plane, fly there, take a picture, come back again before the show ends, I'd be grateful. So I don't know. So
I've no knowledge of that
I
whatsoever.
mean, we'll wait for you to come back. I'll wait for Monty to come back on that. But he also
Stick
said,
would know because he's in New Zealand.
how do you know? He also said, why are all other planetary objects spheres? And Steve, quite rightly, I thought was going to be my question. How do you know that they are? I know how you know, because NASA told you, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen pictures of them.
Yeah.
I like NASA's pictures of Devon Island, commonly known as the planet Mars. They're very good, aren't they? Where they sort of, and also the nice artistic
Brilliant.
illustrations,
Yeah.
And because did you know that Martians are actually lemmings? Because there was a lemming, wasn't there, that they accidentally photographed. Now, Paul, seriously, yeah. Whoops. Now, Paul says both. This is Paul says both the International Military and World Economic Forum use Leeson's flat Earth map for their logo.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Steve says Eric Dubay explains how the orientation of the moon works on a flat Earth.
He does, and so does Flat Earth Dave Weiss as well, and he's got a fabulous app that you can download, and it shows all the phases of the moon, the changes of the seasons. It's a fabulous piece of work, and I think you can explain phases of the moon, eclipses. You can explain them both on a flat Earth model and on a globe Earth model.
That's interesting. Now, Stig,
can I just
certainly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're not getting into a flat Earth versus globe Earth debate here. That's not what this is for.
I agree with you. Yes.
This is a novel. What we're talking about is a novel that kind of proposes that there is something strange going on beyond the Antarctic ice wall. Flat Earth, globe Earth, it's actually quite irrelevant, because as far as I know, the globe, it might be a globe, but if it is, I suspect it isn't, but if it is a globe, then it is there's no doubt about it, it is much, much bigger than the
colours. Absolutely is.
And what lies beyond the ice wall, what lies beyond Antarctica, is the whole essence of the book. So let's leave the flat Earth versus globe Earth debate for another time, because that's absolutely irrelevant.
What are they covering up? That is the main objective
of this.
See, I don't know what they're covering up. I mean, I know
what are they covering up,
because I know Admiral Byrd or Dickie Byrd. He, I think he died in the mid-50s, about 55, 54. I don't know, but
55.
He was 55.
Yeah,
thanks.
I think so. Yeah.
Thanks, Mandy. He was an explorer who liked the Antarctic. He's also a Freemason, and there's a plaque put out by the Masons somewhere in the Antarctic, I believe, because they financed some of his expeditions. And he did say that he was flying his plane. I think this was, now I could be wrong, there was a massive military operation in about 1947 that the Americans
Operation
did. Now that's the one. Now, was it the one? I'm not sure whether it was during Operation High Jump that this chap Byrd flew into an area in the Antarctic that was like almost tropical, where you had green forestry. He saw a mammoth, and he saw a city that is years ahead of what we've got. And he spoke to the people there, and they were very peaceful and very polite. And he went back. Now, this is in his diaries, I believe, and he kept quite tight-lipped about it. But was he? Let's be blunt about this. Let's be detectives. Was he as mad as a bleeding fruitcake, or was he? Did he have his head firmly on his shoulders, or was he on the magic stuff up his nose?
I don't think he was mad.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. What
No, I
about the
don't
magic
think he was.
mushroom?
I don't think he was mad, but I also absolutely really doubt that his diary is genuine. Actually,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
you know, again, you know, we mentioned that in passing in the book, but it's not a major element to it. You know, it's a moot point. Really. I think probably a fake, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Steve says
Me
relying
too.
on
Yeah.
bird is also not a good idea. Absolutely, Steve. So we
Yeah.
don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we
No.
this is a novel. We do weave little bits of that kind of stuff in and out of it. So you know, it's called poetic license or literary license, whatever you want to call it. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, what is strange about Bird? I mean, from my point of view, there's two sides to what Bird disclosed. There was what he disclosed in his famous 1954 Longines TV interview, where he basically didn't go into huge amounts of detail, but he basically said that beyond the ice is a land larger than the United States. Much of it is fertile and not frozen, not covered with ice and snow, and has virtually limitless resources. That side of Bird's disclosures are the ones that I tend to put a little bit more credence on rather than the diaries. I'm with John on the diaries, really. They could be a psyop in their own right, I think.
You got a point there, but what about
Absolutely.
the other thing where there's another thing they might be hiding is a previous generation. Sorry, the previous civilization, and we're going
Yep.
into Matt Hancock. Is it Matt Hancock, the Hancock bloke area now? That were advanced but were wiped out by something, and this is what they're trying to cover up. I
Well,
don't
who
know.
knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
Absolutely, who knows? Yeah, yeah. It's you know, these that's what the book is kind of, you know, investigating. You know, that it's all about why are we not allowed to travel beyond 60 degrees south unless we're incredibly tightly controlled. And even when you go to these Antarctic landing points on these Antarctic cruises, you're pretty much corralled into a kind of a fenced enclosure. You're not allowed to venture beyond kind of like 100 yards away from when you get off the boat. You know, you get kind of marched into the gig shop to send a postcard, and you know, there's no freedom for you to wander around and take a look whatsoever. You know, and why is this? It's the only part of it's only part of our realm where us plebs aren't allowed to go.
hmm. Is it? And also, I mean, if you hold a secret, that gives you power,
Yep,
doesn't it? Really?
yep.
I know something you don't know, sort of thing. But now Stephen Truthseeker said the Great Flood wiped out everything. Really? Hmm.
Now that's interesting, isn't it, John? That's something we've been speaking about recently, isn't it? The Great Flood or a Great Flood.
Yeah, but don't give it away. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we have. We've been talking about not the Great Flood, but we're talking about a flood. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
book two, because this, although it is a book in its own right, and you can read it, kind of standalone. It's very much going to be a continuation. It's going to be a series, and we're going to address all different elements of the Grant conspiracy within it. So yeah, book two involves a flood, and I'm not saying any more than that.
It's a bit watery, isn't it?
yeah.
Now, we got here Monty. Was it Monty's Sad Ventures? Says you can book
You can book
cruises
cruises.
to
Yeah, yeah.
Antarctica. It costs you a shitload, but you can. Well,
Well,
yeah,
that's almost a line from
Yeah, well, I've
the
already
song.
explained that.
Yeah, that's almost a line from the song, isn't it, John? In the book.
Yeah, the song in the book.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing that gets
Okay,
me.
I actually made that point. You can book cruises to Antarctica. It will cost a lot of money, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But you know, that to me is just like sops for the masses, if you like, if everyone understands that phrase. What I mean by that is it means that it's just a way of saying, oh yes, you can go to the Antarctic. Look, there's cruisers go to the Antarctic. Yeah, of course there are, but it's all very strictly controlled, as Andy just explained in you know, fairly good detail.
Yeah, Steve's just made a really good point as well. Sorry to interrupt you about you know, the Antarctic beyond 65 degrees has virtually no vegetation. Yeah, I mean that's also really true because one of our locations in the book, which is an airbase, is at 63 degrees south, and it's actually in a pucker location. It's an island called what's it called again, John? King George Island. King George Island. 62 or 63.
King George Island.
Yeah, 62 or 63 degrees south. It's as far south as the Faroe Islands is north, and there's virtually not a living thing exists on that island. Yeah,
Wow.
if you go to the Faroe Islands, there's a shitload of people. There's a bunch of animals. There's grass. There's trees. You know, okay, it's not a tropical rainforest,
and it's quite warm in summer.
Say what? Sorry.
Quite warm in summer.
And it's pretty warm in summer. Yeah, it's pretty warm in summer. Yeah.
In the Faroes.
Yeah, in the Faroes. Yeah.
But,
and, yeah. So that, you know, there are huge question marks over why, you know, for example, why is it much colder the further south you go than traveling north? And again, that's another thing that another subject that we touch upon in the book. And yeah, we don't offer necessarily an explanation, but it's questions being posed and topics that we cover. Yeah, it's a question. Yeah.
Now we got here an interesting one. Stephen Truthseeker says whale bones have been found in mountains. Now it says, and he's gone on to say the Earth was once Earth with no large oceans.
Quite possibly. It's not something I've ever looked into. Have you, John?
No, I haven't. No, but yeah, I mean, whale bones have been found in mountains, as with any, you know, lots of other kind of maritime fossils as well, because, you know, the continents have shifted over the millennia, haven't they? You know, So yeah, what was once an ocean is now land, and vice versa. You know, it moves around over a long period of time, I guess, but it does move around.
Now, as Steve has said, I saw a video years ago where someone looked into the travel agents who are used for these cruises, and they're as dodgy as anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know a guy who lives in the town next to me, and he worked for years on these Antarctic cruises. And honestly, he is as dodgy as fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, he himself is. Yeah, he's a dodgy individual. Yeah, and he worked on them for years.
Well, it's a bit like before the Falklands War. I can't sort of exactly say that I knew where the Falklands were.
No.
And I know that the Irish Air Force tried to help the RAF out during the Falklands War. They bombed Falkirk. Sorry, I'm terrible joke. But so I was going to say, sorry, Ireland. All the people from Ireland just switching off there. Sorry, boys. Sorry, just a joke.
No, you've lost them. You've lost them.
They're gone. Yes.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say is, it's as when you look at places like South Georgia and that.
Yeah,
it's not exactly the nicest place to book your holidays, is it? I mean, you're frozen up your backside.
Yeah,
and it showed you midsummer in the Falkland Islands, which it was around the 21st of December, and they're still walking around with their pullovers on.
Yeah, there would be.
But Horrendous Get Fucked said it's a ant ark full of ticks. It's yes, we like that one. Carry on with the day job. It's okay. It says here. Now Jojo Gizmo says you also find whale bones in old corsets. Well, we won't go into that, will we?
Well, it's just to go back to your Falklands point there, Chris. Your Falklands point. Falklands is at 51 degrees south. I live at 53 degrees north, where I am. Yeah. I mean, there's one hell of a difference between our summer temperatures here in the Yorkshire Dales compared to down in the Falklands. Yeah.
Yes. Well, sorry, you're because I think you're in the outer regions of the of Fockham, aren't you? The
I am,
Yorkshire,
yeah.
the
I
Fockham,
am, yeah.
Yorkshire,
Yeah,
and of
just
course
beyond
John
here.
is in
Yeah.
Scarbados, which is
Yeah.
the embassy of culture, Fockham culture up north. But the funny thing is that going back to what is being hidden there,
Yeah.
there's a lot of money being paid out to keep it a secret what's
Yep.
there. The whole world, I don't know about North Korea, has agreed to leave the place alone.
Yep.
Let's look at this like a detective. I'm not a
Mhm.
detective, but let's look at it. People like I think it's Graham Hancock, not Matt Hancock. I get muddled up, and they're very different people, I assure you. But Graham Hancock, he's talking about a civilization that was knocked out, quite an advanced one, 10,400 years ago.
Yep.
That was about as he reckons again about as advanced as the Victorians were. So they could, they were pretty well advanced,
Yep.
maybe further or advanced in a different way. Um,
Right.
there is mutterings that civilization may be alive down there. There may be cities that are covered in ice. We just don't know.
Could well be.
Because I don't go in for all this thing about the pole shift. I think that's another piece of scaremongering. Yeah, the poles have shifted in the past, but they're not going to in our lifetime or for several generations' lifetime. But again, that's all added into the mire of stressing people out. But there have been people that have just completely disappeared that have gone down that way. And I mean, when you look at the maps, I believe you could fit the United States into the Antarctica with room to spare. Am I right there? It's
I've
so
abs-
huge.
Well, I mean, I've absolutely no idea, to be honest. I've never really. I don't think you can get enough information from Google Maps to even try to be able to do that. But I mean, if you look at like the obviously the title of our book, 60 degrees south beyond the ice wall. If you look at the ice wall and the reach of the ice wall, there's another mystery. Basically, surrounding how large this land mass is or this ice mass is. Because it's, as far as I know, unless anybody knows better, it's never been successfully circumnavigated.
That's
So,
right. It's very strange.
yeah,
By the way, Andy,
yeah.
you've answered some people in private chat. They won't be able to see that in the normal chat because it's only between the people actually
Right,
on
okay.
air.
Okay.
So say rude things about people in chat. You see,
All
like,
right, okay.
I'm only joking. But now this
No,
is
you're not.
yeah. It says, Paul says, because the sun never reaches Antarctica, given what the liars have told us that we are on a ball, the heart from the sun would mean the Arctic and Antarctic would be similar conditions, but it's not that.
No.
And Stephen Truthseeker's gone back and said, look up Graham Hancock. Would you mind? Underworld book and videos. He goes scuba diving and finds lost cities. That's what there's one off of Japan, I believe. And we got here. Steve says pole shift is a total hoax. Yes, I agree with you, mate. Yes, if they're scientists, sorry, are saying it, you can be sure it's hypothetical, made up bollocks. Yes, I would. What do you think of the fears that we've had? We run on fear, and I don't want to drift too much off of this, but I don't know about you, Andy, but I think John and myself, we question the validity of nuclear bombs.
Yep.
And that's fear porn because I grew up,
Yeah.
Well, not needing laxatives because of the fear of that we're all going to be griddled alive in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting that Paul has said Google Maps doesn't show the Arctic at all.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Or the Antarctic, I suppose.
Well, it shows that surprisingly, it shows more of the Antarctic than it does of the Arctic. I don't know if anybody else has seen when I've focused in on Google Maps on the Arctic, all it is a huge expanse of blue, but a very, very strange white line, just as if they've almost cut something out. Yeah, you on Photoshop or something. Yeah, there's a strange white line. It's dead straight, runs for thousands of miles. Very, very strange.
Now, I don't get this one. You might get out to it. It says, Matt Hereditous Skepfoot says, don't mention Hancock to Archiax. Archiax. Red rag to a ball. I need a bit of head scratching on that one. I'm a bit thick on that one. Sorry about that, mate. But
no idea.
No idea. Stephen Truthseeker says, why call the Earth Earth? If 2/3 is covered by waters, the water come first. That's a very good point, isn't it? Yes, because 2/3 are covered by water.
I don't understand the relevance. It's a good point, but I don't understand the relevance of it to the discussion that we're having. I'm sorry, Stephen. I don't mean to disparage you, mate, but I'm struggling to see what relevance all these comments are, regarding the water. I mean, what? Yeah, you're probably right. I wouldn't dispute it, but I just don't see the relevance of it. With regards to this discussion, I'm just making that point.
That's all right. It's like, why are penguin biscuits? Are they linked to the Antarctic mystery? We just don't know, do we?
No,
they come shutting out the factory, and there we go. But no, joking aside, it's very strange that, I mean, when you look at such a huge continent, and it is absolutely massive, that you'd ever hear of great explorations there. Now, was it, I think, in the 40s and 50s, before the 1959 convention, a lot of American submarines went down there, nuclear submarines, I believe. I don't know. Do you know anything about that, where they sort of try to explore? And I just wonder what they may have found.
Well, the only thing I really know about around about that time after World War II was Operation High Jump. And I mean, there were lots and lots of official reasons why Operation High Jump was undertaken, but obviously, prior to World War II, there'd been an occupation of a large Antarctic territory by the Germans. They annexed a large area of Antarctica, called it New Schwabenland, and settled there and set up military bases. So for me, from sort of my knowledge of it, the reason for Admiral Byrd and all the other naval commanders taking their fleet, which was Operation High Jump, down there in 1947, I think one of the main reasons there was to actually see if there were still a load of Germans down there.
Well, it could be, but I remember many years ago reading in Nexus magazine, a little plug there, very good magazine it is, Nexus magazine, and there was a chap that's, now whether this is, shall we say, I'm just saying it as I read it, and I'm not giving an opinion of it, but apparently a chap was going through one of his relatives' belongings after they died, and found this diary where this fellow was in similar to the SAS, or equivalent of the late 1940s. And he went down there, and there was a hell of a hoo-ha, because he found that there were Germans living down there in underground tunnels, and there's fighting and there's things like that. I personally don't believe that story. I think it was made up and put in it, but I'm not blaming Nexus, don't get me wrong. They print things regardless, and I think that's what a free press should be, so you make your mind up. It's a very good magazine, so there's no criticism there.
Well, I mean, they might be right. The thing is, if you're not allowed to go down and find out, there could be anything. Could be absolutely anything, and that was one of the motivations behind the idea for the book. There could be absolutely anything down there. So why not, create a fantasy novel that introduces all kinds of possibilities? And that's what we're doing, really. That's what we're doing here. Because, I mean, if you think even like the flat Earth argument, they could nip the flat Earth argument in the bud tomorrow if they said to everybody, right, okay, all you guys who don't think the Earth is a globe. We'll set up hundreds and hundreds of flights from, say, Buenos Aires, and we'll fly to Perth, Australia, right across Antarctica, and that would nip all this in the bud, and we'd know one way or the other. But they're never going to do that, and they've never done it in the past. So who knows what's down there and what's beyond the wall?
I've learned something tonight. I did not know it was colder down in Antarctica. Much colder.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
is
know that.
amazing. The difference is huge, absolutely huge.
And we're what? Sorry, carry on, John.
And the reason and the reason why they won't do that, what Andy's just suggested, is because they love the Hegelian dialectic of this argument that's going on between flat earthers and globe earthers. Encourage it because it's part of the divide and conquer strategy. So they would never, even if the earth is a globe, they would never prove it because they just love all this stuff. They love it. and it does, it keeps everybody busy thinking about stuff that, you know, distracts them, get on, you know, with the rest of their agenda. So, you know,
well, that's it. It's sort of it's like this kind of secrets club. I mean, for example, Steve has said all polar explorers are in their club. Yes, you're right there. You won't find any ordinary folk being allowed to do that. Yes, as George Carlin once said.
Yeah, well, we did some research.
Yeah. Carry on, John.
We did some research on. Sorry to interrupt, but it's the only way I can get a word in actually by interrupting Chris, because it's the delay. I'm sorry if it comes across as being. You know, I have to kind of jump in because there seems to be some kind of delay at my end, and it's really awkward. But what I was going to say was we do mention this in the book actually, and there is a little thread running through the book about the Scott of the Antarctic expedition. The research that I've done about Scott says that he was absolutely a Freemason. Okay, so that goes back to the point that somebody made a little while ago about the polar explorers all being, you know, part of the club. Yeah, it was a high-ranking Freemason, was Robert Scott. So there you go. Doesn't prove anything, but it's an interesting point.
And another interesting point was the other bit that we found, John, where apparently Scott's mother tried to persuade him not to join the Freemasons because she said they were a nefarious bunch with tricks up the sleeves. Yeah, that was his mother, but he didn't need an advice apparently.
Yeah. Yes. But do you ever see the film? Was it with John Mills?
John Mills, yeah.
You've got all that expanse of land.
I watched it 2 weeks ago.
And I see a flag, and they say Amazon got there before us. I can smell something. Cats, dogs. No, I think that's bullshit. Actually, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, you know, is there a sort of big flag saying this is the sun? This is you got to Antarctica? No, it's rubbish. Complete rubbish. And
well, we cover all this stuff in the book, Chris. We cover all this stuff in the book.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah,
don't worry. And,
Chris, can I just comment on? Can I just comment on Jojo?
That's all right.
Jojo
Gizmo. Yeah, she says
this one.
The reason it's colder down there is because the sun. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, the reason Jojo Gizmo says the reason it's colder down there is because the sun has to travel faster to go around the far south than it does in the far north. And yet, that is an incredibly good point, because if you think about it, if the Earth is a globe, then the southern hemisphere, the Tropic of Capricorn, which is as far south as the sun goes, is the same distance around the globe as the Tropic of Cancer. Yeah, but what she's saying is it has to go a lot faster to make its southerly circuit than it does its northerly circuit. And we cover that in the book as well. That's a really good point.
Well, one of the reasons, though, that the United Kingdom is a little bit warmer is because of the Gulf Stream. You know that for a fact. Which doesn't matter whether it's flat, round, square, or oblong Earth. That is a fact. That's a scientific fact because of the Gulf Stream. But Jojo Gizmo has gone on to say here that there are pyramids beyond the ice wall. Yes, there are.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and no, it says here he's come
Again,
back
that's
here.
in the book.
Stephen Truthseeker says,
I didn't want.
ah,
Didn't know if I
now
should give that one away, John. You've given that one away.
Well,
yes, it's
well, it's
very
only a passing thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Stephen Truthseeker says it's very relevant. This is regarding more sea than there is land to the discussion we are talking about off limits subjects about our lost history. I
Lost
think that
history,
is
yeah,
lost
Thinking
history.
is
Yeah.
lost.
And
No,
Nathan
no, I'm sorry,
Lucius has said,
Stephen. That's not true, Stephen. I'm sorry, that is not true. We're talking about Antarctica, not about the formation of the Earth. We're talking about Antarctica. That's what the discussion is all about.
but no, I think
I've said
that
it. Sorry, go on.
yeah, that's okay. It's okay as long as now we've got here Klaus Schwabenland. That's Nathan Lucius. But I actually have a joke coming up, but I better not. Now, Operation. This is Paul. So Operation Fishbowl and
Yep.
Operation Dominic were bombs where bombs were set off at the filament.
Firmament, I
know
think
that.
it firmament. The firmament.
Ferment.
I've not
I'm
heard of
terribly
this.
sorry. Ferment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. No.
Yeah. No, I've heard
Now,
of it. I've heard of that.
I've
Yeah.
not heard of this. No.
No, I've looked into that before. Yeah, yeah.
now, Steve has gone on to say the maximum altitude allowed when flying over Antarctica is 17,000 feet. Who knows why that might be?
I can't comment
Interesting.
on that because, to my knowledge, I mean, I don't know who's allowed to fly over. Does you know who's allowed to fly at that altitude?
Good point. Yes.
Because I don't know anybody who's allowed to even fly there. Never mind at 17,000 feet. Is he
The
talking?
military.
I'll say, is he talking about
The
the military?
military.
The military, yeah. Is that right
Yeah.
then? Yeah, it's the military that aren't
Must
allowed to
be.
fly. Yeah, and I wonder why that is then. I wonder why that is.
Weird.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But as I say, I've certainly learned something tonight about this coldness. I really didn't know because we are. You're, I think, as you mentioned, Andy, you're 53 degrees north, aren't you, in
Yeah, yeah,
Yorkshire?
yeah.
And down south, we're 52 degrees north.
Yeah.
I know that because I for a hobby, I make sundials. And Spain is 38 degrees north. No, off by out now. But are the guests aware of the final? This is what's this? Monty's Adventures. Here we are. Are the guests aware of the final experiment which showed 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Okay.
I'm aware. I'm aware of films that I've
What's that
seen
got to do
showing.
with anything?
I've seen film of 24-hour sunlight from Antarctica. One thing I don't know is how far south was that taken? Was it at 90 degrees south? Was it at 80 degrees south? Was it at 60? But I also, when I analysed that film, it looked a little bit cut and pasted to me, clipped. It didn't look right. It didn't look right at all. Because I've seen the 24-hour sun in Iceland, and it didn't look anything like that. Didn't look anything like that.
No.
It looked a bit dodgy to me, but I don't know anything. It's not anything I've looked at in any great detail.
Yeah. Yes, and Stephen's come back and said, "So what is the Earth then?" Yes, we're still going back to the Earth, and now Jojo Gizmo has said the reason it's colder down there is because the sun has to travel faster to go around the far south than it does in the far north. Because yes, that's
We've
it.
already
We've got
covered
a lot
that,
of
Chris.
people coming in.
Yeah, we covered that one. Yeah,
You covered that one, and we got a lot of people coming in from Facebook tonight. So good evening, everybody from Facebook as well as YouTube.
Hi, Facebook.
Yes, hello. And unfortunately, I can't actually because normally in Facebook I go into the plug the Fockham Hall group Facebook, but you can't do that. You have to go into your main one. So there we are.
Yeah.
But now we got here. Do you think? This is Suzanne Crawley. Do you think some of these characters actually existed, or just more fairy tales, are more actors, i.e., one person playing many different parts. What's that got to do with the book? I don't know.
Does she mean people in the book, or does she mean things like Antarctic explorers?
Yes,
Yeah.
it might be Arctic explorers,
Yeah.
like what we got in politicians. To me, they're all part of the pantomime. They're all actors, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Just for our, yeah. But as I said, again, if they were true to what they say, they would stand up and say, "Let's abolish usury," and none of them do, because they know if they do, they'll end up in a wooden overcoat. So there we go. Um, uh, Now, oh dear, we go back to flat Earth again. Oh, your guests say the Earth is flat. Then, no, as I said, Michael Benting was right. It's square. So there we go. So let's go along with square Earth.
Yeah, could I just? Yeah, can I just repeat for the avoidance of doubt, everybody? This is not a debate about flat Earth or
right.
globe Earth. This is talking about the mysteries of Antarctica.
Yes.
What is going on behind the ice wall? And the subject of the book. It doesn't matter whether it's flat or globe for the purposes of this discussion at all. So please, can we just keep to the subject? Because
I
it's
agree
getting
with
very
you.
irritating.
It is a bit, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. There are direct flights between continents in the South Hemisphere. For example,
Flat Earth,
Santiago,
globe Earth.
Auckland, New Zealand. The regular flights are bookable. Example, Latam Airlines. And that's an interesting one. What is it? That is Doo. So that.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing about flying over the Antarctica, the thing that we covered in the book is the fact that if you were a private aviator, so you're based in South Island, New Zealand, and you think, tell you what, I fancy going down and looking at the ice wall, yeah, in my Cessna or my Gulfstream or whatever you're lucky enough to own, you just can't get there. So, you may be able to go on an organised trip from Christchurch. You may be able to go, on a boat from the Falklands or from Buenos Aires or southern Chile and get to some point. But if you decide to go down in your own boat and explore, or you go down in your own plane and explore, you're in danger of getting shot out of the sky or blown out of the water.
If let's say France was like
Absolutely.
Antarctica, it's more like going on a day trip to Calais and saying, "I've seen the whole of France." It's definitely no. You just went on a day trip to Calais where you've been
Exactly.
about sort of
Yep.
100 yards inside. Now it says here,
Yeah.
and as Stig said, I don't doubt it. Flights to Antarctica leave from Christchurch. That's in New Zealand, not in Great Britain. Yeah, but again, it's a bit like the analogy of France. It's like a day trip to Calais or Boulogne,
Yeah.
And now, Jojo Gizmo said, "I reckon the 24-hour sun video said to be from Antarctica is a fake done with a green screen."
It did look dodgy to me when I saw it. I wasn't convinced at all. I wasn't convinced. No,
Now,
not at all.
Steve has come in with an excellent one here. The coldest temperature recorded in the Arctic is 69 degrees. I think that's minus 69 degrees centigrade.
Yeah.
I should think the bleeding dogs are frozen to lampposts at that cold.
Oh yeah.
In Antarctica, it's 98 minus 98. Oh my God, fathers, minus 98 degrees C. My God. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do Estigos go and relieve themselves? Now that's another good question, isn't it? How do you go, if you caught short, what do you do? Now,
well, at least you won't be seen anyway by any humans if you do get caught short. Yeah.
But do you think there's just nothing there, just emptiness, apart from obviously penguins?
Penguins. Yeah, there's penguins.
Outside.
Lots of penguins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A few elephant seals. A few of those knocking around. Whales in the sea where it's not frozen. Yeah, but apart from that, very little else.
Admiral Byrd. Yes, he took a flight down there. Sorry, Admiral Byrd. Yes. Now, what we got here? I think the reason it's colder there is purely so it keeps people away. Who knows what's behind their eyes for? Now that's a good point, actually. Yes,
Mm.
but no, it is maybe there's a tropical jungle there, and it's really nice, and all the elites sort of go there for a break and then come back again.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, there may be a
Yeah.
visitor's book, might there? May even be a visitor's book.
Well, I always remember when Rolf Harris was charged, and he seemed to not give a sod about it, and he's due to go to jail, and he sort of walks out, and a lot of people guessed that it was a double that went into prison, or he never went to prison in the first place. He went to Barbados or somewhere and spent a
Yeah,
couple of years there.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this is a registered skeptic. The thing, dum 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 dum, the foreboding in the soundtrack. Okay, have I missed something there? I
I've
read
no
just.
idea.
Have you been at those mushrooms again? Sorry, I don't wish to take the big, but can you explain it? Unless I've lost there. Um, Antarctica is much higher elevation, hence it's cold. It is cold. This is dooby doo.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Yeah.
Now, Yvonne Taylor said Tasmania is closer. Closer to what?
Closer
Closer
than
to Antarctica?
closer than where you are.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's an island, isn't it? A lot of Australians live there. Now, I shouldn't say this, but Dark Andy said, Stephen Treaticker, you seem obsessed with flat Earth. now, what if you can access Antarctica via submarine? This is Susan Crawley,
Mhm.
and that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Now, and Steve Swain said, this is on Facebook, Susan Crawley, great comment. You too, I think that is. Now, uh, now we got here, that's life, but not as we know it, as said, you could maybe expand a bit more than just it's in the book. Great stuff nonetheless. So, okay, righto.
About any
Do you want to
particular
expand a little
point?
bit
Yeah,
more?
the reason
Yeah,
Yes, any
yeah.
particular
for
point?
that is the reason for that is I'm logging off. Okay, I can't
Oh,
word in, so it's
what,
just pointless me being here. I might as well just log off.
oh, sorry. Well, should we carry on, John? Is he gone?
Has he
Oh,
gone?
I think he's gone.
Is he going to log back in again?
I hope so.
Hmm.
I think it's this time delay that's doing it. But I don't know why, because he's actually in the same hemisphere as us. But he's still there, I think. I can still see him there,
Well,
Um,
I'm still here anyway, Chris. I'm still here.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, we got here, Steve says,
Yeah,
someone
but I've
went
got a
to
time
the.
lag, and I just
He's here again. He's here again.
I'm just saying I've got a really bad time lag, and when I try to, you two are already speaking, and I've just not. I can't get a word in, so I might.
Try rebooting, that might do. But next week I'll probably be back on Rumble, so they won't have a problem there. Someone went to the Christchurch flight and took a compass. His compass showed travelling northwest when it was claimed to be going southwest. That's from Steve. Yes.
An
And
interesting one. An interesting one. Yeah, we do talk about compasses quite a bit, actually. Some of the explorers take compasses with them that are not kind of, they're just normal compasses, not tied in with, say, sat nav or GPS and things like that. So yeah, compasses play quite a big part in the book as well. Yeah.
yes. Something else which I wanted to go into is what Graham Hancock talks about is very, very detailed maps of Antarctica that were done a long time ago, thousands of years ago,
Okay.
and these maps were copied in around about the sort of 14th and 15th century. and they show Antarctica in great detail, which
Oh.
is, how did they have the technology then?
Well,
Hmm.
that's a good question. That's something I'm going to look into. I mean, I'm well aware of a lot of the maps like Gleason's World Map, and
Hmm.
there's plenty of other maps that even map out the Arctic region differently to
Hmm.
how we're told today. And I think some of the old maps maybe could be revealing all kinds of things that were that's being covered up now in modern times.
Now, the other thing is, yes, further than Antarctica is Swashland. I don't
Is
know where. I think that might be the German part. Um, Now, the other one is,
Swaziland.
if we tell people the temperature will freeze them to death, their fear will keep them away. Maybe Elvis and the Queen are there.
Who knows?
In
Who knows?
my,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah, you never know. There could be.
Mm.
Um, Now we got here. There is no ice wall as such. Otherwise, you could you could have penguins.
I'm not sure what
It's Doobie Doo. I don't know.
I don't know what you mean by that, doobie doo.
Hmm. Uh, Now that's like we're talking about John now behind his back. If he leaves and rejoins, that
So,
might help. This is what I suggested, but I don't know
yeah,
where he's
yeah.
gone.
I don't know. I'll drop him a little note. I'll drop him
Yes.
a
If you
WhatsApp
could
or
ask him,
something.
I mean, we don't want him to be left out. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that hopefully next week we'll be back on um, Rumble, because it's an annoying situation, because I didn't want to be halfway through doing the show and suddenly it
Mm,
just blanks straight out. We can't have that. I think it's a software bug that they've got, and we've been trying to get this restream to work with Rumble, but it won't for some unknown reason. It should do. Is you can actually join Rumble from restream, but it won't on my computer. I don't know why.
yeah.
Uh, well, this is it's a funny one. Phil Howard says the only thing flat earthers fear is sphere
It
itself.
itself.
Now, no, it says here, this is Steve says, John, you need to get Musk's marvelous new but fake
Big
Starlink
Starlink
satellite
satellite
service.
service.
Oh,
All
that,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it says, been waiting ages to hear John Hamer. Again, shame he can't seem to get a chance to speak fluently like he used to. The man has great knowledge and it's worth listening to. I agree with you, but the trouble is his computer is out of sync.
Mm.
And that is the big problem. I mean, I like to get everyone
Oh,
to speak. Would it be possible, Andy, can you contact John and
yeah.
say,
I've just sent
yeah,
a message now, Chris, and he's typing back. So hopefully
oh,
he's
that's
gonna
good. Thanks, mate.
he's gonna tell me what he's doing. So
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the show is it'd be great. I don't know. I always think that these things happen and you don't know why.
Mm.
And I was wondering whether to chance it on Rumble tonight, which I could have done, but the trouble is we could have been halfway through the show and the thing just goes boom like it did last week,
Right.
and the week before that, and the week before that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
He's typing at the moment. He's typing away. So yeah, I mean, he does have amazing knowledge, does John, about all
hmm,
kinds of things, scientific and historic. I don't have anywhere near that amount of knowledge, but what I do have is an inquiring mind. And if something kind of smacks me, hits me in the face as being a bit fishy, then I do tend to like to try and find out why and
hmm.
what's going on. And the
Well,
more you do, and the more you don't find out, or the more I don't find out about a subject, the more I'm likely to, have suspicions about it. And certainly Antarctica is one area where there's just so much intrigue and
there is.
and just obfuscation that you just think, what on earth is going on down there?
Well, that's the thing. What is going on down there? And it's very odd that the whole world, the leaders of the whole world, agreed on it,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
shows me, points me that most of these wars are all orchestrated in that.
yeah,
And it's all a load of old fluey that we're really told, and we're
yeah,
just kept in fear
yeah,
continuously.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I
Now,
mean, yeah, I mean the signing of the Antarctic Treaty. I mean, height of the Cold War, 1950. You know, late 1950s. Yeah, nobody seemed to object to signing.
hmm,
Yeah,
that,
you know,
that's a weird thing. Now, Stephen Truthseeker has said, I know we're not sort of saying too much about the book at the moment. Just do 2 YouTube interviews per week. Yeah, trouble is, mate, with with YouTube, you've got to be careful because they're censorship. This is the reason I went on to Rumble, because you can say things that you can't say on YouTube. Now we're pretty safe tonight talking about the Antarctic, but
right,
if we go on to more serious subjects, we have to be on Rumble,
right,
and that's the problem. And also, John, uh, when I use StreamYard, that's very RAM hungry, and I know that John's computer it may not have enough RAM for
yeah,
StreamYard. So I chose. Well, I didn't choose it. It was. I'll come on to Restream tonight, which is new. This is not StreamYard, and I thought it would be less RAM hungry, but it still is. And of course, we got our this is radio, so we haven't got our cameras on. That saves on bandwidth, but it's still the same. But
yeah.
I think I'm determined to get back onto Rumble. Again, you can chance it, but what's the point of playing? It's like Russian roulette. You're sitting there thinking, will it go off any moment? That is, you can't do a show like that.
Mm.
Um, now it says here, this is Doobie Doo says there is no ice wall as such. Otherwise, you wouldn't have penguins. Don't know.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what she
No,
means. Is it he or she? I don't know. Don't know who Doobie Doo. Do you know Doobie Doo, Chris? Do you know
no, I
Doobie
don't know
Doo?
who Doobie Doo is.
No,
Doobie Doo.
no, no.
No. Now Jojo Gizmo said if there are fertile lands beyond the ice wall, then that will mean there is another sun or suns too.
It could well mean that, Jojo Gizmo. Yeah, could well mean that.
But
Yeah, yeah, could
if
well
you
mean that.
if you go down the inner Earth, then that answers the question because there's apparently a sun inside the Earth.
Is there really?
So they say. That's
Oh,
one of the theories. I'm not saying it's right. I'm being very. I don't know, but there's quite a few ancient myths about going into hollow Earth, and if the Earth is hollow, the moon is supposed to be hollow. Although I personally think that the moon may not be solid. It might be because it shines quite bright, so bright. But we won't go down there about the moon landings and things like that. But no, I don't believe they landed on the moon at all. I really don't believe it now. I did at the time, that
yeah,
shows how old I am. But
yeah.
no, seriously, um, with Hollow Earth, there's quite a bit to be said to it. And I know that the American Indians, North American Indians, believe that there was the ant people came out of the Hollow Earth, and there's strange beings in the Hollow Earth. It's all part of their myths and whatever. So that's an interesting one.
Very interesting. Yeah, yeah. Who
Yes,
knows? Who knows?
yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, John,
we
sorry, Chris. John's just come back. He said he's tried a reboot, tried that. It doesn't have any effect. I think
right,
he may have given up the ghost now. He may have given
right.
up. Yeah,
Can you give me a little bit of time to think?
yeah.
Because I may be able to get him through on another feed, which I've
Okay.
done before.
Yeah.
He might be able to come through on. Let's think how we could do this. He might be able to come through on Telegram. And that'd be loud and clear on Telegram.
Yeah. Do you want me to suggest that to him?
Or the other one is, well, we could do. Hang on a moment. I'm just trying to. I'm just thinking as I'm talking. The other one is do it, which I have done before via Skype, and that's
Via
work.
Skype. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want me to
So
suggest those to
yes,
him?
we could suggest that because we've got another
Yeah.
hour which we can
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'd like to have John on here,
Yeah.
and please apologise. I'm very very sorry this is happening. I do apologise.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've suggested that to him, Chris. So let's see.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, Now Paul has said there's no ice wall in Sainsbury's, but they still have penguins.
Yeah, they had penguins in when I
Yes,
was
yeah,
there
yeah,
yesterday. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. That's the thing.
And
But
glacier mints as well.
yes,
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I don't know about you, but we might start a bit of a chain reaction here. Do you think the chocolate in penguin biscuits now is just more shitty than it used to be? It used to be quite nice chocolate, but now it's shitty.
I think everything's shittier than it used to be.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yes,
is. Yeah, yeah.
yes. Um, oh, it's a good one. This is a good one. Phil Howard said, "It's ironic the Antarctic Treaty was signed during the Cold War."
Cold War. Yeah.
Oh, I like that one. That's a classic. That is. Yeah, I like that. That's a beauty. Now, this is another one. This is Paul says it's very interesting. The moon is a map of the Earth, and it shows vast amounts of extra territory.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen videos on that. There's a series I watched a few years ago called Lost Histories, and they had a whole program on the fact that the moon is basically almost like a mirror image of the Earth, like a composite, if you like, almost like an X-ray plate. And a guy called, I think he was called Stelios, had gone and mapped the shape of the moon, or all the dark patches on the moon, to the land masses of Earth, and they did show extra lands beyond our known realm. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting possibility, that one.
Now we got here Monty's Adventures. I thought it was Monty's Sad Adventures, but it isn't. It's Monty's Adventures. We definitely didn't land on the moon. No, we didn't land on the moon. Yes, using something that looks as if it was made on by children, with sticky tape and bits of cardboard, and I've actually seen the command module that's supposed to have gone round the moon and come back again. And this is when I was at college, and about a number of us, I can't remember how many, went in convinced they landed on the moon, and I would say all of us walked out convinced they didn't.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Now it says here,
I mean, tinfoil is a good product, Chris. Don't get me wrong; it's a
yeah,
good product, is tinfoil, but I'm not sure it's that good.
well, precisely. And it says here, Paul, I go to Iceland. This is Stephen Truthseeker every Saturday, but the prices of frozen peas. Well, you know what you get with frozen peas? Chapped legs. That's the trouble, isn't it? That's all right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Stephen Crawley says, remember those divers that found another sea underneath or another source of water? Yes, I remember that. Well, sadly, they are no longer with us to
Oh,
tell their findings. So I believe Antarctica is a shell to protect, like ferment, what lies below.
that's a very interesting possibility. Yeah, fascinating. Like that one. I like that one a
Yes,
lot.
that is it.
Like that one a lot.
Interesting. That is
Yeah,
interesting. Yes,
yeah.
yes. And
So
McVitie's clubs are always the way to go. Yes.
yeah, yeah. But I do
Now,
like the comment about the firmament, though. I mean, again, that's
yeah,
we do ask questions about in the book about the possibility of there being a firmament, and yeah. We I think what the point she's made there, Sue Ann Crawley, is very interesting. Um,
yes.
yeah, could Antarctica be the outer shell of a firmament? Who knows? Again,
Hmm.
who knows? Because we're not allowed to go anywhere near it.
The what we can't say on YouTube is in our food. That's why it tastes shitty. Yes, yes. But now, here's a good one. Paul says, "How does an Eskimo build his home? It glues it together." Oh dear. Well, do you know what an egg is? Don't you? It's an egg without a loo.
It
Sorry.
certainly is. Certainly is.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But this is something I know it's a rather personal sort of thing. But how did Eskimos go to the loo when it's so bloody cold? I mean, you can't just go around a if you're in the middle of the bloody and
Mm.
and you need you caught short. I mean, how do you have a pee? I mean, surely it freezes you freeze everything off, wouldn't you? Yeah. Now it says is it just me? This is Phil Howard that thinks Musk's latest footage of his rocket landings. Oh yeah, returns screens of CGI. Yep,
Yep.
it certainly
Yep.
does. I
Yep.
might need to go to Specsavers. Spot on.
Yep.
I don't believe a word of this with
No,
Musk. I
me
mean, what?
neither. No.
No, no.
No.
And
No.
we've got these battery cars and silly things like that.
Yeah.
Replying to Susan Crawley, Vickers. This is Yvonne Taylor. Vickers Barrow used to be Vickers Town. Did he really? Well, not many people know that. Is it in this country? Um, President Nixon spoke to the astronauts, as Jojo Gitt spoke, on the moon using a landline phone.
Yeah. That was hilarious. That was
No
absolutely
time delay.
hilarious. Yeah.
No time delay. And
No.
it's what I like is what their faces when they came back from supposedly the moon.
Yeah.
They all look as if they had a cucumber shoved up their arse, and they're all sitting
Didn't
there,
they just?
you know.
It's a
That
shame
landing
John.
module.
It's a shame John didn't have the
Mm.
same technology this evening, actually, because he wouldn't
Well,
have had
it
that
is.
delay, would he? He wouldn't have had that delay.
I hope John does come back.
No, I think he's struggling. He's really. He said he's tried a few things, but he doesn't know how to link in. He says, how would I link in through Skype or through Telegram? He wasn't sure how to do it, Chris.
I'm just trying to think because we did it once.
Did
So
you?
I'm just trying to think, yeah, but trouble is I'm using something that's new to me, which is
Yeah.
Restream. Well,
Yeah.
I did it through StreamYard before.
Yeah. Okay. I think he may have given up now. I think he's run out of options. So
Well,
apologies for
John,
that. Apologies for
John
that.
will- well, yes, I apologise as well, and John will be
Yeah.
back soon, and
Yeah.
we won't. We'll have to use. That's another thing you see. Rumble is not RAM hungry, so he can speak quite easily on there. You know.
Okay.
Now it says Mark Anthony said that landing module was like something off Blue Peter. It certainly was.
Yeah.
Yes, and well, you ought to see the command module. Oh, bloody hell! I mean, it's a joke. It really is. Now it says here, Louise Wilcox said we did land on the moon. Stanley Kubrick's one. Funny, the song allegedly played was "Fly Me to the Moon." That's where they wanted to go instead of the studio. Wow, I think Stanley Kubrick was probably had something to do with those shots because he was one of the leading experts in what's it called? A projection. I think it's frontal projection, where you see a line going along. And when you see them dancing around on the so-called moon, you can see that exact same line.
You
see it
absolutely
in the
can.
film,
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey. Now it says. Oh, hang on. Louise Wilcox has said, what is it to Mark Anthony? Well, they need one made earlier. Yeah. Right. Just wondering, talking about the ancient worldwide flood, still not relevant to this conversation. Stephen Truthseeker. Well, it
Well, I mean,
probably is.
yeah. I mean, it's. I
Yeah.
suppose maybe what Stephen's alluding to is the fact that maybe the oceans at the level that they are now are concealing lost civilizations previously above sea, and I think that's quite possible. Quite possible. Yeah. In the same way that ice could be covering lost civilizations, lost technologies, lost realms.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
and what I am particularly interested in is out of place archaeology, where they go down through layers of earth where they know it's thousands, perhaps millions of years, and they'll find something like a gear cog or something very advanced, and it's out of place. It shouldn't be there. It's like that, looking glass that they had, that they found, which could only have been made with very high precision instruments.
Yeah.
Now, Herodias Skeptic says, if you believe they put a man on the moon, if you believe there's nothing up his sleeve, yes. Now, Paul said, how did the tabloids get the front page pictures on the same day they landed using camera film that needed processing? Good point. Did Boots already have a branch on the moon to develop the films? Yes, good point. and we got a link here that
Yeah.
Steve Swain has put to a YouTube video. I can't really look at that at the moment, but
Mm.
really, we got to really look at this. Let's go back on the book more. Now, with the book,
Yeah.
you're you're as I see it, I guess you're piecing together the evidence and putting it into a novel,
Yeah.
but with factual evidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, the book itself really is it's an adventure story. I mean, it's basically about a couple of RAF pilots who were stationed down to an airbase on King George Island to
Mhm.
patrol the skies and prevent unauthorized planes from flying beyond 60 degrees south. And they basically in the first few chapters they go up to intercept various planes and they engage in conversation with the people on the planes. And one of the pilots in particular starts to kind of question things and starts to do his own research. So that's kind of the how the book starts, and that research just leads him down various rabbit holes and then onto a whole host of adventures. So that's kind of that was my original idea for the book was let's have a guy down there who just gets posted down there to follow orders and suddenly starts to like have his eyes opened and wake up a little bit and start to
Mm.
question things.
Well, the thing is, they say, how can you keep a secret? But you can keep a secret
Absolutely, you
um,
can.
because, well, look at the Manhattan Project.
Yep.
That was a secret. Is who needs to know? Um, I actually worked, as you often say, freelance, and I worked for an organisation once where I hadn't signed the Official Secrets Act,
Hmm.
but I was a freelance bloke. But it was a project where, uh, if you asked a question, so for example, I was designing some of these rooms there and the structure on the outside of the building. And if I needed to ask a question, I'd actually have to fill out like a little document and send it in, and then you get your answer back. And
Right.
it was all a need to know. I even wanted to know which way the north sign was on a map, and they didn't even put a north sign on, you know. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but this is the first thing you do put on any drawing if you do a plan. Louise Wilcox, this is Phil Howard's talking to Louise Wilcox. I heard an interesting theory that Kubrick tried to confess in his 1980 movie The Shining with the kid on the carpet mimicking the moon launch pad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I've spotted that one.
But and as Louise said, I think it was said earlier, how did they make calls from the moon on it to Earth on landlines that struggled to reach different countries? That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But, are
Yeah.
you familiar with the word Stendek? Or have you heard of Stendek?
I haven't. No. No.
Right. Well, I think it was 1947, and this is in this sort of area. It was in South America, where there was a plane, and it was a converted bomber from World War Two for civilian use because they did that after World War Two. They got sort of quite a
Yeah.
few bombers. I think it was I think it was a Lancaster, but I'm
Okay.
doing this off the top of my head. And they're a very experienced crew. They'd done bombing raids on Germany many years before, so they knew a lot about flying. And they took off, and I think they had to fly over the Alps.
Yeah.
Was it Buenos Aires or somewhere over the other side of the Alps that they had to reach?
No, I have seen a film about this actually. Yeah, it
Stendek.
was it about in about 1950 or something like that?
1947, I think.
1947. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah, yeah,
And what happened is something to do with the jet stream or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Um, they last message they sent to base was Stendek, 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 and that was many years later the title of a Spanish UFO magazine
yeah.
because it was a mystery for years. What did Stendek mean? It didn't really mean anything. And one day, some hikers way up in the Andes noticed parts of an aircraft because at the time they had an intensive search and they could not find the aircraft at all. It just disappeared. And many people thought they'd been abducted by aliens or Christ knows what.
Yeah.
And I think it must have been about 20, 30 years ago, some people up in the Andes were walking along and they found parts of this aircraft. And of course, the military went up there. And sure enough, it was the aircraft that went missing in 1947. And what happened? It actually hit a glacier, and snow covered the wreckage, and it sort of slid underneath the glacier as it was coming down this mountain. And of course, parts of the plane ended up at the bottom of the glacier where it was melting.
Yep.
And it was really creepy. You see parts of this plane and bits of people's shoe and a touchy case, all in perfect condition. So it's quite. And I did a show once called Stendek. It's quite a nice word, Stendek.
Did they find any bodies, Chris? Did they find any?
I think they did.
Bodies?
Yes, they did find
Right.
bones and things. Yes,
Yeah,
so it's definitely the people are sad, But
well, that's another interesting one about things. Because there was a few planes that were being flown across the Andes various times that disappeared in the Andes, flown by Northern Hemisphere pilots. Yeah, who basically thought they'd gone further west than they had done. That's always interested me.
Yes.
And what they were intimating there was that the lines of longitude were further apart at those latitudes than they were in the northern hemisphere. I always thought, I always found that very interesting. And I think Captain Cook alludes to that as well in some of his diaries, that they thought they were in one position in the Southern Ocean, and then realised they were actually sort of 200 miles shy of where they thought they were or where they should have been. Which again is tying back with the early discussion about the amount of time it would take the sun to go around the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes, that's interesting. Now, Paul, that's very interesting. Paul has come in, and Paul's normally a guest on our show. So, very interesting when he and Survival Steve come on together, because all into this numbers and numerology and that. And he said, by the way, the fake moon landings took place on day 201, which is a highly satanic number. Interesting. Now, the other one is Louis Wilcox said, Kirkbrek allegedly allowed people to record his confession. He was living like a proper recluse at the time, and shortly after this confession, he was found dead. I've seen the fake confession. There is a fake one on YouTube, and it's an actor, and I think they've done that deliberately, so that shall we say as a misdirection.
Yeah. In the same way that I believe that the Richard E. Byrd published diaries are a misdirection. I don't put any validity on those whatsoever. But I think it's more interesting. I think what he said, I mentioned earlier in his 1954 TV interview. But interestingly enough, he died 1 year after that interview, allegedly of a heart attack at age 63, 64.
That's very young. Yeah, and he was fit, wasn't he?
So he was a very fit guy. Very fit guy. Yeah.
I think heart attacks have been able to arrange heart attacks for a very long time.
I agree.
And I just don't I don't believe half of what we're told. And we got here, was it? You also have the film crew who filmed the craft taking off. Oh, what's this on the Apollo? Did they leave someone behind? This is Paul. And if that left it behind, then how did they get the footage back to Earth? Yeah, well, they said that they left a lunar rover there, didn't they, to film it? That was the story. But to me, it looked like something on a piece of elastic thread,
Yeah.
And Paul said, and not forgetting that NASA happened to leave all the footage of the fake moon landings on a
No, but
bus.
is that where it went?
Yeah. And
And in
that's why Paul goes everywhere by bus. That's it. He's trying to
yeah,
find those
yeah, yeah.
lost moons. Have you found them yet, mate? You know, those lost tapes. That's the secret. Yes.
Yeah.
But really, where will people be able to get hold of your book? And
Okay, as yeah, the first reference point, I think, to have a little look about what the books are about and to get a decent preview is to go to the website, which is www.60-degrees-south.com.
I wonder if I can put this. Hang on
Yeah,
now. I'm going to try and put this on now. Let's see,
yeah,
let's see if I can add something here. Oh,
yeah.
hang
Oh,
on.
no,
So if you could, I'll type that out and add it to the bottom of the screen. So what
yeah,
is it now?
okay.
It's
60 dash
hang on, 60 dash.
dash
Yes,
degrees
yes.
dash
Okay.
dash south
South. Yes.
.com.
Dot com.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
yeah,
I'll see if I can add this because I'm
yeah,
new to this.
yeah,
Is it edit?
yeah.
Let's see if I can add it. Come on. Here it is. 60 degrees south. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Let me have a look. Just a sec. I can't see it. Where have you put it, Chris? I can't see it.
It's around the bottom. It's called a tickler.
Tickler. What's a tickler?
That's what it says. Oh, hang on. It's right at the bottom, 60degreessouth.com.
Hmm.
Hang on. I wonder if I can put.
Can you put it on a
Hang on.
message so I can see
Yeah,
it?
all right. Yeah. 60 degrees south.com. Right. Now let's add that and let's see if we can add that to the show. Here we are. Can
Oh,
you
hang
see
on.
it? How's that?
That's exactly bang on. Yep, yep,
Okay,
yep,
we'll leave that there.
yep,
So if people want the
yep,
book, do you have
yep.
a price? You know, do they get a Fockham discount or something? Or
I think we could arrange that. Yeah, I think we may be able to do that. I need to speak to John. At the moment, it's not actually been. Although John said it has been published, it has. It is available on Amazon,
Mhm.
but that's the only way it can be. And people can pre-order from John's website. Um,
Ah,
but the best thing to do for now, I think, is to go on the website, have a little read of the book preview, and then see
mm,
if you fancy buying the thing.
yes.
Yeah, because there's 3 chapters in the book preview on the site, so you can read the first 3 chapters and see if it captures your imagination or not. And then yeah, there's various ways then of buying the book.
And also on Kindle. Can you get it on Kindle as
It's on
well?
Kindle on Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon you can get it on Kindle. Yeah, yeah,
Ah, that's-
yeah.
And so good luck with it
Thank
and
you.
with everything like that. And
Yeah,
it's not easy. And the cover is really good.
you
It's
like it, do
very
you? Yeah.
good.
Well,
Yes.
we have to thank our publisher man for that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, very good. I think it's Nathan, wasn't it?
It was Nathan. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great, Nathan. You did a really good job
Yeah,
there.
and he's even
But,
got the correct plane on there as well. It's an F5 Freedom Fighter. Yeah, yeah,
ah, that's right.
yeah.
But do you think that there could be any link with that and the Bermuda Triangles and these sort of strange triangles around the world,
It
or
could.
links with ley lines, which is
There
something
could.
I'm particularly
Yeah,
interested in?
yeah. Well, there could well be. I mean, we did actually consider bringing in a link to ley lines and the Bermuda Triangle into the book just for a bit of fun. But we were in danger of bringing too many elements in, so we decided to leave those. But we do have a mention in there of pyramids. So, and we're thinking that may
Hmm.
be a theme that we will follow in say book 4, book 5, or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But Bermuda Triangle, who knows? Yeah, could well be.
Now, we got here Andy's. This is Steve Swain said Andy's 3,000, was it? No,
Eh,
30,000 feet above
three
sea level. You need a bit of oxygen up there, I'd have thought. Uh,
3,000 feet. No, it says 3,000 on mine. Does it? Or does it say 30,000?
hang on. Oh, sorry.
3,000.
3,000. Terribly sorry. Yeah, it's because it's the screen.
Well, that's only the same as
No.
Helvellyn. That's only the same as Helvellyn.
Check out Lake Titicaca. This is Steve Swain. Yeah, so he gets abreast of things there, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Lake Titicaca.
Yeah.
And it says here, Steve Swain says, he was a 33-degree, my son. Mason. He was
Mason. Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. And Steve has said they can certainly arrange the result of an autopsy. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, let's face it, if they had an autopsy on Harold, who was the last king of England, yarrow in his eye, they would have said, oh, it's just an eyelash, that's all. It's a deadly eyelash, that's what he's got. Now, NASA, never a straight answer. I thought it was the National Association of Space Actors. Sorry. But
oh, not a space agency?
Yes.
Yeah. How's that one? Yeah.
They are in The Lost Property, are they? Oh, that's the film of NASA, isn't it? Now, this is an interesting one. That's Life, but Not as We Know It. Has said, have you read Moon Man by Bert Sibrel?
Sibrel. Yes, I have. Yeah, I have.
I've interviewed him 3 times now. Oh, he would be a good guest to get on. Thanks, mate. Yes, if you can get him on, that'd be marvellous.
Yeah, Bart Sibrel's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is Bart Sibrel? Yeah, brilliant.
Now, this is an interesting one. Are we sitting comfy, boys and girls? Got your popcorn out? Here we go. Paul says NASA full name equals 666 in Sumerian gematria. Well.
Wow.
That is super wow. That is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Now, I think this is Stephen Trusick. I think they tried to kill me with it over 10 years ago. With what? Sorry. Oh, hang on. I've got this the wrong way around. I think it's a technology they use to give people heart attacks. Yes, I do as well. Now, this is hi, Hatchy. I've just got in. I'm well late. Yes.
Yeah.
Note
very
from,
late. Yeah.
I would say note from parents and what do you think? See the headmaster for that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Ley lines. Yes. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to do with ley lines there. You know, it's strange, but I think that probably your book, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, is it giving you a lot of evidence for you to be like the jury and think,
No,
what are they covering?
No, not particularly, because that's not the point of the book. The point of the book is to just to to write. I wrote it as an adventure to entertain, but also just to make people ask questions and just ponder on things. And a lot of the dialogue within the book is that kind of dialogue. It's not really somebody standing there in a pulpit saying this is true, that is true, this is fact, that is a lie. It's people saying, well, hang on a minute, what about this, and what about that, and and just to actually look at what they're not being told, or how they're being kind of distracted or potentially deceived, and just going, hang on a minute, I don't really get that. What could that be? So we've kind of done it like that, really. And I mean, there's all kinds of things that people have mentioned. Like there might be other suns, there might be a firmament, there might be fertile lands, there might be pyramids. All of this kind of thing is these possibilities are. Several of those are in the book, but they're not in there. They're not in there with me and John going, yes, there are all these pyramids. It's because the characters find these things and wonder what's going on, because we don't know what's there. So all the book is saying is potentially there's all this stuff down there, yeah. And the characters in this fictional book, which is a fantasy book in a way, go and experience these things and ask questions as they're traveling through.
Now, Andy has said you're. Sorry, this is Nathan said this,
Yeah,
who's your publisher,
he is. Yeah,
and he said, Andy, you are very welcome. Hope you're happy with the publication and cover, etc.
very happy, Nathan. Thank you. Very happy.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's bloody excellent because it
Well, thank
catches
you,
your
Chris.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, um, Now it says Bermuda Triangle releases gases from the sea. Yes, I have heard of that, Steve. This is Steve Swain. And it's sunk boats, hasn't it? Because the boats can't float in these gases. And I know it was hyped up a lot years ago, and there's supposed to be a Welsh triangle as well. A strange things happen off the Welsh coast. What
Oh.
I do not know. Yes.
Mm.
Now it says here, why now Stephen Truthseeker said, why write a fantasy book when there are tons of important, real alternative information? Well, that's an interesting question. Is it, put it there?
Well, the answer to that is to entertain, really, to entertain.
Well, education has to be entertaining.
Yeah, yeah,
The thing is, to entertain. For example, the way they teach dogs to. I mean, there's um, a squad that teaches dogs to sniff out people that are trapped under wreckage after an earthquake or something like that. And the way they teach these dogs is the dogs think it's fun. And
yeah,
it's not necessarily for a reward. They're playing a game. They want to find
yeah,
these people.
yeah.
And you got to look at it from the dog mentality. Although many dogs, I'm pretty sure, are well aware that they're saving lives. But this is the way they teach them. The
Mhm.
training period is the fun sort of. They're there to have fun. This is Peter. What happened to Israeli Diagro on YouTube going off subjects? I don't know. I've never heard of him.
Me neither. Yeah.
Okay. I've had 6 of the best. Whoa! Laugh out loud. I stuck the Beano down my shorts. Laugh out loud. That was the old thing, wasn't it? Well, mind you, I went to a very strange school. You had to give the headmaster a good thrashing. Now, this is another interesting one. Suzanne Crawley said, "What about the Black Rock in Antarctica?"
That's not anything I've. Can she give us a bit more information, possibly, or anybody else? Yeah, I mean, interesting name though, BlackRock, isn't it? BlackRock.
That
Yeah.
is a funny one. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Hatchie said, Louise Wilcox, I'm worried when they cull them. Cull what? You need a license for a budgie these days. Laugh out loud. Yes. I happen to like budgies. He's murder when I walk about in me Peter Stringfellow type underwear. No, I don't. I think it's a private conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, but no. The other thing is that a lot of these mysteries can be solved. There was a chap once who was he looked into these mysteries years ago. I can't remember his name, and he said that 99% of the mysteries can be solved, but it's the 1% he's interested in that can't be solved. They're the ones that you go for. And hang on, Steve has come back.
That's it.
Said,
yeah.
Black Rock is Arctic, not Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the coldness. Though. I really didn't. That's something I didn't really know. But am I right in saying Antarctica is dark all the time in some parts?
Well, I don't know because I've never been.
No, nor have I actually.
Yeah, I've never been. I mean, I've been to Iceland, and I know that in June, at the end of June and early July, it's light all the time. So I've been there and seen that because they let me go there. But they won't let me go the other way. If they did, I'd go and find out.
And well, I've been to Bridlington. I mean, is that anywhere that's sort of like the Arctic, isn't it, most of the time of the year?
Well, it's near where John lives. Put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty cold. Yeah, it's pretty cold in Bridlington. Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting one. Phil Howard said, didn't they recently fund a trip to Antarctica for a leading YouTube flat earther who then witnessed a 24-hour sun, which goes against the flat earther. Oh God, we're going back to flat Earth again. Flat Earth theory. And I think Hereditary Skeptic says the PCR test. What, to find out whether it's flat or not? That's a good idea. Yes, yes. We can do that. Yes, yes. I mean, that probably get a better result. You never know. They might find a new use for it. You know,
you would.
But,
Yeah.
no, I found that flat Earth has been a little bit irritating. You know, I mean, I don't really care. I don't really think about it. I'll be straight with you.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, it's something that you know that I've looked into in great detail, and I'd just like to go down to. I've got lots and lots of ideas in my head that I would like confirmation on, and you could probably nip it in the bud by being allowed to go, you know, by just being allowed to go, and yeah, there's lots and lots of people saying, oh yeah, well they did this trip for these people and they did this trip for these other people. Yeah, I've not been myself, so unless I go there
No.
and see it for myself, you know, you could have a load of actors. There could be a load of actors going down there and saying, "Oh yes, here we are." Who knows? It might even be up in the northern in the northern territories, looking at a 24-hour sun.
But I suppose there's no life there. I mean, there's no Eskimos there because Eskimos are up in the north,
Yeah,
aren't they?
there's
They're not in the
nothing. There's
south.
nothing at all. Nothing at all. Also, we're led to believe.
Now, this is an interesting one. Hadji said, I bet money a penguin doesn't get bird flu.
Not down there. It's too cold. Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest, Louise Wilcox says, the biggest mountain in the world is called Black Rock, but the majority of it is underwater. I didn't know that.
Where's that then? Do we know where that is?
Biggest mountain in the world. I thought Everest was the biggest one in the world.
It's the biggest one that starts above water, anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So not many people know that. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to give a big apology. People have been sending me emails and things, and please don't think I'm ignorant. I haven't answered because I've been tied up trying to sort out this problem with Rumble for the last couple of days, and that's been sort of my main focus of attention. And I do apologise if you sent me an email. I like to get around to answering everybody's email because it's rude not to. And I think that it's people in chat and the viewers that make the channel what it is. And, you know, and to me, to answer emails is a way of saying thank you. So please don't take offence if I haven't answered your emails. I'm a little bit late doing it, but yeah, I will get round to it. And I think this is true what Mark Anthony said. He said, I think we have a flat earth society tonight. I think you're right. And we got here, I've got a friend, this is Jojo Gizmo, says, I've got a friend who lives on New Zealand South Island, and they say even in the summer it's absolutely freezing at nights. Yeah, because New Zealand's a very strange place. Did you know that there were no mammals there until humans came along and introduced them?
I did know that, actually. Yeah, that's why so many of the flightless birds were wiped out, weren't they?
That's right.
By rats and cats and all this kind of thing. Yeah.
Now it says here, Steve says the Antarctica Flat Earth Exposition has been shown to be CGI footage, among other things. Now it says even the tallest above water, but Black Rock would dwarf it if it was out of the water. Oh,
is Black Rock in the Arctic then? Is that what she was saying?
I don't know. I really don't know. Now we got here. Flat Earth is rubbish, Mark. There we are. That's Stephen True Seeker. And we got here a bear. This Hachi says bears don't live above 3,000 feet. The Yeti might laugh out loud. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is that with the Arctic, there was a hell of a lot of interest in it in the Victorian days, and especially in the Edwardian times. A lot of interest. Yep. And suddenly, it sort of disappears. Weird, that interest. or sorry, the interest hasn't waned, but they must have found something, whatever it was.
Well, I
And I
think.
don't. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, there's you look at some of the old maps of the world, and there's all kinds of land masses where the Arctic area is now. There's areas such on some that they call it Hyperborea. Don't know if anybody's
Mhm.
ever heard of that.
I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah, where you've got these four rivers going into a central point. Um, and that appears on a lot of old maps. Whereas now all you get on Google Earth is blue with this strange white line.
How weird. And we got, well, it's just, this is Paul. So the biggest satanic ritual is to hide where we live. The only company that tells us we are on a globe in the vastness of space is NASA. What if the Earth is the heart of everything? Hmm, yes. And we got here, New Zealand has everything: snow, mountains, jungle, and desert. That's right. I had
Just
some
yeah,
relatives that
yeah.
lived on North Island and it was tropical
It
there.
is. It is absolutely tropical. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But I wouldn't mind going to New Zealand. I mean, I guess have you been there or?
I've not known. My sister lives there. I've
No.
never been to visit.
Ah,
No, never been to visit. No.
um, and Louise Wilcox says, I believe Black Rock is in the Arctic, but not
Yeah.
100% sure.
Okay.
Um, Haji actually said, have I missed John Hamer? Yeah, we told him you're coming on and he went straight off. I'm sorry about that, but no, no. Had a bit of trouble with his computer. It's just going tits up, basically. There, says here, Mark, because you keep going on about flat. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about flat Earth again now. Oh no, no, more flat Earth. I get fed up about flat Earth. Steve, flat Earth is a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor. Most flat Earthers are globe skeptics and merely posit flat Earth as an idea. Neither thing has been proven conclusively, unless you believe space nonsense. And I personally don't believe anything has ever got past the Van Allen belt. Nothing. I don't believe it at all.
Well, why would they be doing tests at the moment, NASA, to see if for the purpose of traveling to Mars, whether man can travel beyond the Van Allen belt when we'd already supposed to have done it back in
Yeah.
the late 60s and early 70s. There's NASA videos of a guy going, yes, we're doing all these experiments so we can see if man can travel beyond the Van Allen belt. Hang on a minute. Did we not do that did you just take a massive risk then back in the 1969 and early 70s
That's it.
and get away with it? Did you get away with it? Yeah.
Well, Steve Swain that's a good point. Has said check the Kush Mountains, Cush Mountains, Afghanistan, big giants. They live in the Kush Mountains. That's cushy, isn't it?
It is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And we got here. Is the Earth, this is Hereditary Skep, folks, bigger than they say? Do we live in a crater surrounded by an ice wall? Interesting, yes.
Yeah.
And Hetchy said, up until 1918, the North Sea was called the German Sea. Wilhelm wasn't happy. I couldn't make it up. I didn't know that. Yes. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I won't read this one out, but
Yeah.
Stephen Truth Seekers.
I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
then another Steve has said, even if the Van Allen belt is true, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it exists at all. Yeah.
I really do not believe that anything has ever got past the Van Allen belt. It really hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody tonight because we're coming up to the time. I haven't got a thing that sort of plays us out tonight. I'm sorry about that because this is new to me. This is Restream, which is a totally different thing. I've just sort of a bit of an amateur on Restream, but yeah, so far I don't know about you. I think it's pretty good actually. I don't know whether it's better than StreamYard. I think it's equivalent. I think it's pretty good. And the reason I'm on Restream is we're going to use it to stream Rumble, and we wouldn't have had these problems. But unfortunately, we couldn't because for some technical reason, Rumble won't have it. But I'm going to learn how to use a different piece of software, and hopefully we'll be on Rumble next Sunday. for a show. And do you cover any other subjects, Andy, in your repertoire?
Well,
You
I
know?
do have a Rumble channel, which I
Oh, do you
start.
want, let's promote it, shall we?
Well,
So
you can do. I mean, it's something I did as a release from Morley Sanity during Insanity, should I say, during 2020 and 2021, where
yeah,
I smelled one enormous rat
same here.
right from the outset, and I started back in about, I don't know, March 2020,
Mm.
just coming up with ridiculous lyrics to popular songs, and I just
Oh,
yeah, and I've got a Rumble channel which
have you
is
got it? Have you?
it's
What's
called Ebar Gum Productions.
E
Ebar Gum Productions.
EBI
So it's
double E
BAH
BAH
GUM
GUM
Productions.
Productions.
Yeah,
And
and
that's on Rumble.
it's on Rumble, and it's just my silly little DIY comedy
Oh,
stroke satirical takes of the COVID and other stuff going over the last few years. Just me singing and one or two of my other friends singing silly words to popular songs.
that I'll have a look at that.
Yeah,
So I'll just
yeah.
add this down. Here we go.
Yeah,
Where are we?
yeah. Apologies for a lot of the production quality because it was just
Yeah,
done with a crappy little microphone on
that's all right.
GarageBand with my guitar and my voice and other people's voices. So it's not, we're not claiming to be
So
professional musicians. It was just a bit of fun.
have I spelled that all correct? So that's on Rumble.
Ebargun Productions, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
So check that out. That's it, and give them a tick. And
it's actually it's actually Ebargun Space Productions, so it's two
oh, hang
words.
on,
Yeah,
hang on,
yeah,
hang
yeah.
on, hang on, hang on. Let's edit that, and it's a Bar Gum Space Productions. There
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah, 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 yeah,
There we are, and I'll pop that back on again.
yeah.
I've corrected it now.
Yeah, yeah. So you got, just lots of silly songs on there. Some are, it's really weird though because it shows the journey that I went through 2020 through to 2022. Whereas it all starts quite good humoured and then just gets darker and darker and darker as things got worse and worse. So it's quite it was for me it was
Oh,
an interesting
brilliant!
journey, yeah. But
Uh,
it kept me sane and gave me a release when well basically I was going stark staring
Well, I
bonkers.
was almost going bonkers as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
and and, uh, and your book is available 60degreessouth.com. That's
Yeah,
what to look at,
yeah,
all the W's.
yeah.
And now, uh, uh, oh, we're still going about in chat. They're still going about flat Earth. And well, thank you very much. I'm sorry, John Hamer had technical problems
Yeah, it's
tonight.
a shame. Big shame, that.
It
Big
must have
shame.
been
Yeah,
very frustrating
yeah.
because I've been talking to people where there's a sound delay, and
Mhm.
you're chiming in and you're talking over people. It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Uh, but next time, I'm going to get this Rumble sorted out once and for all. And
Mhm.
again, people say, why don't you use YouTube all the time? Well, the reason I don't use YouTube all the time is because there's certain things you can say on Rumble that you can't say on YouTube.
Yeah.
Tonight, we've been quite YouTube friendly, what we're saying. But
Okay.
when you go into other subjects, like what we was talking about, the shall we say, Bill Gates's uh, toxic arm brew and things like that. Well, we couldn't really go into that on YouTube.
No, yeah.
Well, again, we haven't got any outro on this one. It's a bit crude and just I'm not sure. I think it goes straight off on this. I don't know. I haven't done a stream on this before.
Well,
So
if somebody wants a little musical outro, even if you can't do it, Chris, they can go onto the website and play the music. They can play the song
oh, that's good.
that Trevor John wrote for us called "Something Going On Beyond the Ice Wall." It's funny and it's catchy and it's really good.
Oh, brilliant! Because there's a
Yeah,
chap called he's from Nottingham, Bosworth, isn't it? Bos, and he does catchy tunes and things like that.
yeah.
And we've got to have a good laugh at everything. So, because
Absolutely. Yeah,
my
yeah,
attitude, that's our finest weapon.
yeah.
So, thank you very much. Now, if you'd like to join me tomorrow night, I'll be on YouTube tomorrow night, and we've got a lady coming on called Katrina, and Katrina will be talking about trusts. Now, this applies to you. If even if you're flat broke and you haven't got a penny to your name, you could still use trusts, I believe, and that's TRUST, and it's something that is of great interest to anybody because they're going to take the shirt from your back. So that's what she's going to talk about tomorrow. And thank you very much for joining me tonight, John Hamer earlier, and also Andy. And please join us again on Rumble when it's sorted out. And a big apology for the problems with Rumble. I've been 2 days solid on it and haven't made a breakthrough yet. So,
Yeah, dear.
but I'm determined to make a breakthrough. So there we go. And I say this to everybody: whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.